conversations. That's why I'm glad that I can do this show with you guys every week. If you guys are watching us online, thank you for tuning into The Divide on WRFZ 106.3. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We are here in your ear having the conversations that you need to hear and we need to discuss. You can always drop a comment down in the comments and we'll do our best to pop it up on the screen. If you guys are on the radio and you're listening to us on the radio, make sure you tell your friends, your family, and everybody else, even your enemies, to tune into the show Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. And we will get it popping with all the important conversations to actually start pushing the needle forward. So drop a comment, drop a share, drop a like. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you're subscribed. And if you're on the radio, you can always tune into us on YouTube, the Marcus C. Williams channel. Let's really jump into some things today. So we're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about the Republicans. We're going to talk about the Democrats. We're going to talk about a little bit of everybody today. So if you are Miss Fuzzy Fond Feelings and you're easily butthurt or you feel some type of way very easily, you do not want to listen to this show. And I don't know why you're still here. But drop a conversational piece in the comments and I'll do my best to pop it up so we can have this conversation. If you're online, share this video, share it out, share it to your page, share it to groups, and get this message out there. So, boom, let's jump into it. So, we've been having a lot of people get upset with Elon Musk, right? Now, if you know me or if you've been following me for some time, I am no fan of Elon Musk for a number of reasons. I'm not going to go through and rehash them right now, but honestly, I don't believe that he has the best interest of society. At his heart, he has the best interest of what his vision for society is at the end of the day. But that's completely separate to what's going on with actual stuff in the government. But we can't have that conversation. So I see all of these people, all of a sudden, they hate Elon Musk. Oh, he's so terrible. Da, 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 da. We don't like what he's doing. Well, why don't you like what Elon Musk is doing? Well, we don't like what Elon Musk is doing because he's stopping funding for all of these programs that we love so much. Why do you love those programs so much? What are the end services that they're providing that you love so much? Can we have that conversation? No. People don't want to have that conversation because they know good and well that the vast majority of the things that are being funded, that they're uncovering, that are bad, nobody wants. You've got people that are over 125 years old getting Social Security checks. Are we serious for real? Like, is this for real? They found $1.4 trillion from the Treasury that was just unaccounted for. It just went into the wind because it wasn't documented on where it was supposed to go and it didn't have any traceability. And you're telling me you're mad at Elon because he found that out and he's telling people about it? Shame on you. He's not wrong in this case. It's you that's wrong. That's a serious problem. Luke just dropped a comment. You guys, if you want to share in the conversation, make sure you drop a comment. Luke, I'm about to pop your comment up in a quick second here. I'm trying to find, they changed a chair in this office and now I don't know how to lift the daggone chair up. I don't even know if this chair goes up. All right, let's see. Luke, what you got going on? Luke says, good afternoon, my friend. Good to hear from you today. Good to hear from you too, Luke. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for dropping a comment. You guys, drop a comment, even if it's just like a heart emoji or a hello or a wave or whatever. All of those comments help to kick the analytics to get the video out to more people. I appreciate you all. So as Elon is uncovering these different things, we're seeing a number of things come to light. Many people were upset about them cutting funding to USAID, which is basically a CIA and Department of Defense front. Like, these same people that are mad that they're cutting USAID are the ones that are like, oh, the military is too big. They're spending too much money. We should cut the military. Same thing. It's the same thing, except it's intelligence agencies, you know? It's the intelligence agencies that are doing that. That's the CIA and stuff like that and other alphabet agencies that are using it to actually go and I'd say spread the American gospel overseas, but really it's about serving their own special self-interest. And this is a whole serious issue. This is where we get into the toppling of government. This is where we get into the continued impoverishment of foreign nations purposefully done by our government. I love my country, but can't nobody tell me that my country don't do all types of stuff that we probably don't have any business doing. But more so than that, on top of that, the question is it really benefiting us? And most of the time, the answer is, if you look at it with open and clear eyes, no. Most of the stuff that's being done is not benefiting us. You look at the drug trade from Afghanistan with all the heroin and stuff like that. Why was that? How is that benefiting us? How is that benefiting us? What, because the CIA and these other shady government organizations and the Department of Defense was making money off of selling all the heroin and stuff that was coming out of Afghanistan? Can we talk about that? No. We can't talk about that at all. I want to know where Saddam's gold is. Can we talk about that? No. How about Gaddafi? Where's Gaddafi's gold? Where's that gold? Anybody want to talk about that? No. You know, and these are serious conversations and questions that we need to start asking. But when we start asking them, they try to hush you up and hush you and push you away. Like, shoo, don't talk about that. You know, and these are really serious conversations. But the people right now that are against Elon so bad don't even care about those things. And these are things that traditionally they'd say, oh, we're against that. We're against the toppling of foreign government. So we're against the extra spending for the military. I don't think that you will find one person that's trying to fund the CIA more. No offense to the CIA. I'm just like, unless you work for the CIA, I don't know one American that's like, yeah, let's give the CIA more money. That's exactly what the CIA needs. That's never been said by anybody, okay, unless they work for the CIA. Nobody's out here saying that. So when you're talking about funding USAID, you're talking about funding the CIA. Are you serious? And then they're like, oh, well, they're giving AIDS drugs to South Africa. I'm going to leave it alone. We're not going to talk about AIDS in South Africa and how the USAID people were out there giving them people AIDS and HIV to begin with in cooperation with the South African government during the white apartheid regime, okay? The Boers, the Afrikaners, those people, okay, who now are being, the land is being repatriated to the indigenous South Africans, and now people are mad. Don't even get me started. I can't even. You know, all of the horrible things that have been done in South Africa. Like, we can't even talk about that. But they're mad that, oh, well, they're not sending any money for their AIDS drugs. Whose job is that? Not us. We got people with AIDS right here. In my city, in Rochester, we have unfortunately one of the highest populations and density of people with HIV because we have very good health care here for it. And that's a whole much bigger conversation, and we're not going to get into it today. But the fact of the matter is that money can be spent here. That money can be spent here. Can we have that conversation? No. Can that money be spent in America? Like, we don't have people with those issues here. Are you serious? Well, somebody's got to help them. I'm sure somebody should help them, not us. Now, when we got people suffering from the same issues, and those are our people here, like, people aren't being realistic. Drop a comment, be part of the conversation. Okay, and make sure that you share out this video. So as we talk about this conversation where all this money and all this funding is going, let's start talking about the Department of Education and what's going on with that. They're like, oh, well, now they're cutting the Department of Education. They can't do that. They shouldn't be doing that. Why? What is the Department of Education doing that you love so much? Nobody really knows what the Department of Education does. It says that. And that's something that's very frustrating to me. At least if you're going to know it, if you're going to have a problem with it, know what you're talking about. Department of Education on the federal level doesn't do not jack diddly squat. You know, they administer some loans. Oh, well, those loans can be administered by, well, now they're going to be administered by the SBA, which is pretty much all the SBA does is loans. That makes sense that they would handle that. Then they got a couple of little quasi health things that they do, but not even really. But now that's going to the Department of Health. I mean, so these are serious things that we can have conversations about, but we can have real conversations about them that people don't want to have. That's a serious, serious problem because everybody just sees what the internet says and they're just like, oh, I'm going to go with it. Matter of fact, drop a like, hit a thumbs up, hit a share out. I see you guys there. Thank you so much. And please, if you like our show and what we're doing, you can donate on Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number one. That's $MW Real, the digit one. We also have PayPal and Venmo, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. And GiveSendGo.com is GiveSendGo.com/Marcus C. Williams. You can donate. We're trying to raise $50 to $100 an episode to get more airtime and to start saving up for some better equipment so we can get better sound quality, better air quality, and airtime costs money. So please do donate, whether it's $25, $15, $50, whatever you can do, all of it helps. Let's jump right back into it. As we're having this conversation about these different departments taking over different charges that were previously from the Department of Education, all of the power is going back to the states. I live in a blue state, all held by Democrats all the way through. They hold the state assembly, supermajority. They hold the state senate majority, and they have the governorship. They're the ones who control all of the filling schools in our state anyway. Why is Kathy Hochul, the high priestess Kathy Hochul, getting out here talking about, oh, we're going to fight them for shutting down the Department of Education on the federal level? First of all, that's not your job. Number two, what even are you talking about? Right? Like, you're still going to get the money anyway because the money is funded by Congress. See, this is the problem. People don't understand how the government works. The money is allocated by Congress. Now it's just going to go through the SBA instead of going through the Department of Education, which I don't understand why the Department of Education was doing that to begin with. But again, the Department of Education ain't been around but maybe 50 years. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Carter and stuff like that. And since they've come into power and into operation, remember, there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government agency. But since they've come into being, into existence, they've done nothing but make it worse and worse and worse for the quality of education. We're failing in all metrics. Reading? Nope. Writing? Nope. Math? Nope. And we're talking basics, right? And I live in a city where people are graduating and they can't read, can't write. I just read an article the other day. I can't remember where the girl was. Maybe it was Boston. And she was suing her high school because she's going to college now and she can't read. She's illiterate. How'd she graduate? You understand what I'm saying? But that's happening here in Rochester every single day, and nobody wants to have a conversation. And in Rochester, we are the highest funded school district in the nation. Okay? But we have the second lowest proficiency rate. Can we have a serious conversation? That's what I want to do. Have a serious conversation. But that'd be too much like right. Please hit share, hit a thumbs up, drop a comment, be part of the conversation. So as we go down this conversation and we talk about what's going on with the Department of Education and the things that are being done there and the fact that they're changing over to the different departments, that's a good thing. I mean, this power is going back to the state, and then the states get to decide. I wish that the power would be taken from New York State and it go to the localities, the municipalities. I wish that Rochester could control the majority of the things that are going on in the Rochester school district, that Monroe County could go and control the things in the area. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you right now, the people in Rochester, what we need for our educational system isn't the same thing that they need in Honeoye Falls. It's not the same thing that they need in Poughkeepsie. You understand? Like the school districts, the manufacturing, the jobs, everything is completely different in all these different areas. But they want to convince us that, oh, yes, we need to be under one authoritarian, one group, one power to consolidate, like one ring to rule them all. You know, nonsense. Nonsense. Every municipality, every township should be able to control their own educational system so that the people can actually have a say in what is being taught to their children, because they will know better than the actual state level government or the federal government. Like, we're not being serious here. And the most important thing is the government is the enemy of the people. I'm going to say that again because it's worth saying. The government is the enemy of the people. And as Malcolm X said, only a fool, here's what he said, only a fool lets the enemy educate his children. What are we doing? So if only a fool would let the enemy educate their children, what are we doing in America right now? And this is why we need to return power to the municipalities. I'm glad it's going back to the states, and a lot of states are going to be better than other states. But I believe in New York State, we need to get rid of the State Board of Education as well and return the power to the local municipalities like Rochester or like Buffalo. You know, Buffalo's kind of broken up and they got it like 4 or 5 little different cities around there. But you know what I'm saying? Like that. Now, as we're going down this journey, talking about the different departments with the Board of Education and stuff like that, we've got a lot of great things that are going on in other departments in the cabinet level positions. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Look at the price of eggs is going down and stuff like that. Everybody wanted to talk about, oh, the price of eggs when Trump got into office. Look at how high the price of eggs. Are you serious? Like, we've been talking about that for years. Like under Joe Biden, eggs went up 237. That's how much it was. 237% the price of eggs went up in 4 years. Are you serious? And Trump had been in office less than 2 months, and you're like, oh, it's all him. He's done everything. Look at its eggs. It's him. But under Joe Biden, they killed all the chickens. Come on now. We're not even having a serious conversation. But right now, the Department of Agriculture is saying that they're working on streamlining the processes for the regulations in agriculture. Love it. Love it. Okay, because there's too much regulation in agriculture. The government is doing too much with our food. And somehow the government's doing so much with our food. We got all types of GMOs. We got the genetically modified organisms. We've got the bioengineered food. You go to your local store. Go to your local store. The next time you go shopping, just pull something, anything off the shelf. Flip it over and read it. Almost everything that you read is going to say bioengineered. Why is all our food bioengineered? Then you wonder why everybody's sick and having all these different issues and can't think straight and all of these other problems. Are you serious? It's the food that we're eating because of the regulations that are behind the food that are allowing all of these companies to put the stuff in there. Do you know that with the genetically modified food crops, for instance, we'll do corn. If you have like heirloom corn on your farm and the next farm over has GMO crops and their corn fertilizes your corn, because you know, pollen, it floats and it fertilizes other stuff, or bees or whatever the case is, you know, other pollinating insects and stuff like that. So if it pollinates your heirloom corn, if the GMO crops pollinate your crops, then the company who owns the patents to the GMO corn is going to either A, take your corn, or B, charge you for it because they're going to say that it's theirs. You make that make sense to me. You make that make sense to me like I'm 5. There's something very seriously wrong with that, and we need to be addressing it. But it's not being addressed. But now it's going to start getting addressed. I see you, Edwin. Edwin's dropping some comments. Let's see what Edwin's talking about. Edwin, what you got going on? Edwin says, I want to buy local farmers. That's what I'm about, brother. And we should talk about that more. In New York State, we have a horrible problem with our state government and how they've been doing our farmers, how they've done agriculture, and all of these horrible regulations we have here on the state level when the governor is out here, oh, the federal government is doing this, they're doing that. Federal government isn't doing nothing. Federal government ain't hurting me, it's you, woman. You and the state assembly and the state senators. You guys are the ones that are really hurting the New Yorkers. What's wrong with you people? Edwin says, lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you on that one, Edwin. You guys hit the like, hit the thumbs up. Definitely share this out on your page. Share it in a group. And let's see, Luke's talking. Let's see what Luke's got going on. Luke says, and don't forget, if it says, what's that say? Aketa. I can't read what that says. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Acheta. Is that the thing with the bugs? It's not fancy cheese. It's cricket meat. Yep. See, I knew it was. They want us to eat the bugs. Yes, Luke, we are not eating the bugs. That is not what we're doing. But as they push forward for all of this lab grown meat and all of this other stuff, I try to tell the vegans all the time, you know, don't eat that stuff. They call it plant-based. It's not about it being vegetarian or being vegan. It's not called plant because it's coming from the ground. It's called plant-based because they made it in a industrial plant. Please wake up and understand what's really going on. Edwin says, what's Edwin say? Edwin says they've been doing that for years. You're right, Edwin. They've been doing this for years, and it's crazy. You guys drop a comment, drop a thumbs up, hit a heart. Even if you just drop a comment that has an American flag and a thumbs up or a heart or something like that, do that, because every comment helps kick the algorithm to get it out to more people, even if you just say hello. So as we have this conversation about the foodstuffs, that's why we have so many sick people in our nation. But that's why the medical field is so, it's what do they call it now? The medical industrial complex. That's why it's so profitable, because that's where the majority of our government spending is. And then you look at things like Medicaid and Medicare, because of the way Medicaid and Medicare are set up, the costs continue to balloon, 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 balloon. And they're like, oh, we want Medicaid for all or Medicare for all and all of this stuff and all of that stuff. But it's going to continue to raise and raise the prices. So we should be actually working on adjusting the prices lower first off and foremost, but that's going to hurt somebody's pockets. They're like, oh, the insurance companies aren't paying out. Well, the insurance companies might not be paying out, but we also have all of these drug companies and procedures that are all being charged up, and for extra thousands and thousands upon dollars. And I'll give you an example. You look at the cost of a ride in an ambulance. You look at the cost of different procedures in the hospital. Strong is really good at that. They'll charge you for everything and your mama. Okay. And then they want to do all types of experimental treatments on you and stuff like that without your knowledge, because they're a teaching institute. They're not actually a hospital. But that's a whole nother conversation. Nobody ever wants to talk about Strong here and all the dirty deeds that they're involved in. Okay. I got some personal animosity built up to them, full disclosure, because they killed my grandmother and my grandfather. That's a whole separate conversation for another day, but that's just talks about the shady way that they do people and they do stuff, because they don't actually care. It's all about profit to them. Okay. And you'll say, well, in New York State, all hospitals have to be nonprofits. That is true. But somehow they still pay all of their people that work there in the administration tons and tons of money. You make it make sense to me. Are they really nonprofit? And then we've got the U of R, which is Strong, and they're the largest landowner in the county. And it's crazy to me because they pay no taxes on any of it. They don't pay payroll tax. They don't pay property tax. They don't pay any taxes because they're not actually a hospital. They're a teaching institution. But we can't have those conversations because that's too much like right. And when you start to have those conversations, people want to shut you up and shut you down. And these are the type of conversations we need to be having. So as we're having this conversation, and it's important to be had, we look at what's going on right now with the medical field and the medical industry and stuff like that. We need a major overhaul in the U.S. because it's not about healthcare. We don't have a healthcare system. We have a disease maintenance system. They want to keep you just healthy enough that you don't die. Because the longer that they can bill you, the more money goes into their pockets. And there's nothing more profitable than a sick child. This is why they feed all of these children all of this high sugar and high cornstarch and chemicals that are all terrible for them. And then they try to overprescribe medications to the children. And they're like, oh, well, your little children are hyperactive. Hyperactive? What kids are hyperactive? There are no hyperactive children. Have you ever tried to get a 5-year-old to sit still? 5-year-olds don't sit still. Then they're in school and you're like, oh, well, I want the 5-year-old to sit still for 5-6 hours a day, and they're just hopping all around. That's because they're a child. They're filled with energy. Hello, we all know that, but somehow we've let these educational systems and the medical system tell us that there's something wrong with the children when there's nothing wrong with the children. They got extra energy. They need to burn off that steam. Let the children run around and tire themselves out. Isn't that what the parents say? Take them to the park, let them run around, tire themselves out because they got so much energy. But you take them to school and you think that they're going to sit still for 5-6 hours, like they're working a full-time job at the age of 6. Like, come on, like we're not being serious. But then they want to medicate them. They want to put them on Ritalin, or they want to put them on Zoloft, or they want to put them on what's the other ADHD medicine or whatever. It doesn't even matter, but they want to put them on all types of medications. And then they'll tell you that your child is, oh, your child has depression, your child has this, your child has that, because they want to medicate your child. Not only that, because they get paid extra money from the school system and from the state, the more children that they have that are labeled with these different issues. But we can't have that conversation. And we need to be having that conversation because it's dishonest not to have that conversation. Let's see, Edwin's saying some stuff. What you talking about, Edwin? Edwin says that they've been doing this for years. He says they treat people like cattle. You're exactly right, Edwin. That's exactly what they do. And it's terrible. And I'm sick of it. And we've been going through it for way too long. Edwin says, healthy enough to pay. Yes, they want to keep you just healthy enough to keep paying. That's it. You know, if you guys want to be part of the conversation, hit the comment, hit the like, hit the share, get this message out there so we can get more eyes on this show so that more people can hear the conversation that we're having. These are the conversations where we're sharing them and having the conversations in your ear that are the real that you need to hear, that we need to have amongst more of the people in society today. This is stuff that's basically common knowledge. I'm not telling you anything that's out of bounds or stuff that you don't already know. We all know this, but why don't we talk about this type of stuff? You know, and I'm often one of the type of people, and I'll say this all the time. You'll hear me say it more than once, especially when it's on an important part. Don't believe me because I'm saying it. Believe me because I'm telling you. You understand? Because I could say anything, but if I'm telling you directly, I'm telling you because it's right and it's truthful. Okay. And then I'll tell you, go look it up. You know, I love to tell people that all the time. Go look it up. You know, because nobody wants to look it up. I used to take a whole bunch of different articles and stuff and share them and videos and medical journals and scientific journals and stuff. And I used to share this stuff all the time. Nobody had ever read them. Nobody ever read them. So I just stopped, you know, because no, if you really care, you'll go look it up yourself. Go down the money hole, you know, go down the rabbit hole. Go really look into it. But that goes into another serious issue that we're starting to have, which is the issue with the, I guess you would say, the desolation and the dissolution and desolation of information on the internet. You can't find a lot of information nowadays. I'll give you an example. There's an article put out, I believe, I can't remember, maybe it was News 13 or maybe it was a Democrat and Chronicle where I live. I don't remember. But they were like, Europe wants its money back. It was like $15 million. Like $15 million, that ain't no money for a whole continent to want back, right? Like the whole European Union wants $15 million that they gave to USAID. They didn't give $15 million to USAID. Who are you lying to? Whose face are you playing in? As we said earlier in this conversation, USAID is an arm of the CIA. They are an arm of America's so-called domestic interests. Not that they're really serving anybody else except intelligence and stuff like that, but that's a whole separate conversation. But the fact of the matter is nobody gives them that money. No foreigners are giving USAID that money. That's why it's USAID. But they just ate up the article. Anyway, they're like, oh, well, they were given. I said, listen. Best worst case scenario, those people in Europe, the European Union, whoever, okay, were funding NGOs, non-governmental organizations, okay, that were out there doing work that they were getting funded also by USAID. But they weren't giving funding to USAID. That's not how any of that works. It's crazy. It's crazy, but we can't have those real conversations. And this is something that drastically concerns me because I'll read articles and stuff like that. And I'll be like, this is just patently false. It's just completely outright. Somebody pulled it out their nose hair. Like, that's just not true. Let's see. Edwin says, I read, LOL. Edwin, right. Some of us do read. Not everybody does. And that's a whole nother issue. Sometimes I write like little paragraphs and maybe a paragraph or two on the internet or Facebook or on social media or something. And somebody's like, I'm not reading all of that. And I'm like, well, that's why you don't know anything. That's why you can't have a legitimate conversation because you don't want to read. What do they say? There's a thing that they used to say about black people. They say, if you want to hide something from a black person, you put it in a book. But that's true about all Americans now. You want to hide something from them? Put it in a short 3-4 paragraph thing format. Like, it doesn't even have to be a book. Like, people just do not want to read, and it is a terrible situation. And that goes back into the fact with the Board of Education on the state and the federal level that a lot of people can't actually read, barely have any reading comprehension at all. But if that's a serious issue, how are we going to get people ready for the future and ready for the jobs that really need people to be employed by them? We'll jump into that conversation in a second. You're listening to The Divide on WRFZ 106.3. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams, the #1 conservative radio show in the Rochester area, the top Republican conservative show in the Monroe County. Yes. All right. So share this out with everybody. Like it. Okay. Put a thumbs up, put a comment, drop a heart. And even if you're consider yourself to be Democrat or independent or whatever, I love you too. Okay. We can have these important conversations because we probably agree on more than we disagree on. We just have different ways of getting there at the end of the day. So as we're having this serious conversation, look at what they're doing to us. People have such short attention spans that they don't remember what happened last week, but they also keep throwing tons and tons and tons of stuff at everybody every single day. So it's hard to stay aware of what's going on. It's hard to stay abreast of what's going on. Look at what happened in South Korea. I bet you don't know what's going on in South Korea. The president declared martial law because China's all in the parliament in South Korea, and they're trying to put all of their little spies and operators inside there, just like they've done in the US, just like they did in Australia, just like they rigged Australia's whole election a couple years ago, and they found that out, and they knew it. It was a whole big thing, but that kind of got swept away. You know, like they do in all the different little islands and stuff over there. It's crazy. So, but he declared martial law to try to clean the house over there. And the Chinese-backed people were like, no, you can't do that, da 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 da, and they tried to push him out of office, and it's the whole thing over there right now. Now they got this interim president. It's crazy what's going on over there. China's taking over South Korea. It's a serious problem, and the U.S. needs to get eyes and hands on that, okay? But China has invaded the United States as well. They control large portions of the West Coast, large swaths of farmland, and China shouldn't be able to own anything in the country. Everybody's like, Russia's the bad guy. I don't care nothing about Russia. Russia can't bust a grape. Okay, they got some nukes, but they can't fight nobody for real, for real. They just don't have the manpower. China's a problem. They got economic power. They got manufacturing power. They got military numbers. Like, these are very, very serious issues. You know, but people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to have an earnest and honest conversation. China is the #1 threat to America. And if it was up to me, we'd get them off the map tomorrow. Okay. And people say, oh, well, you know, you got to separate the CCP from the Chinese people or whatever. No, I don't. No, I don't. It is the same thing. I separate them in general from their government. Okay. The same way I separate most Americans from our government. Okay. But altogether, it's the same thing, the same way that people say, oh, down with America, death to America, and all of that. They're not saying down with America, down with the American government. They're saying death to all Americans. I'm American. They can all turn to ash. You understand what I'm saying? So when we have these serious conversations, it is the Chinese Communist Party regime that is the problem, less a lot of the people. But remember, this communist government has been in control for generations, three generations already. So you got a lot of people indoctrinated with this anti-American sentiment. They've been taught from little that they should hate America, and it's a very serious problem. And China has a 100-year plan to take over the world, and they're well into year 25 of it. And we don't take it seriously. And it's like, hello, can we have that serious conversation? Like, that's not even like some crazy, far-fetched concept or conspiracy theory. That is a fact, and they'll tell you because they do. You can look it up online. It's not like it's a hidden thing. It's very serious. And they're attacking the U.S. all the time. They attack us in ways that most people wouldn't even understand. They attack us through trade. They attack us through manufacturing. They attack us through tariffs. That's a big issue with the trade deficit with China. But also they attack us with ecological warfare. And we've talked about that before. I'm not going to dig deep into it today because I want to cover some other things. But it's very serious. Now, for a second, I want to take a second and tell you guys, if you like the show, please share this show out. Every single share helps. If you're listening to us on the radio, tell your friends, your family, your baby mama, your baby daddy, your cousin up the street, your enemy. Okay, tell them all, tune into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ 106.3, Mondays 2:30 to 4 p.m. You can also catch us on YouTube, the Marcus C. Williams channel. So share this video out if you're watching us online. Now, you can also donate. We're working to get some more airtime so that we can add another show during the week. Okay, so please do donate. We're also looking to try to save some money to get some better audio and visual equipment so that it looks better, it sounds better, and we need your help. It's that simple. Support the effort. Go and you can go on Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number one. That's $MW Real 1 on Cash App. Donate 10, 25, $50, whatever you can do. We're working to raise $50 to $100 an episode. Do a donation real quick. Take 2 seconds, do a donation, and pop up on the screen that you made a donation, and we'll share it out and let other people, encourage other people to do it too. You can also do Venmo or PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. We also have givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams. Take a quick moment and donate now. So as we have these important conversations that we need to have about everything that's going on in the world, can we talk about the Christians that are being massacred in the Congo? Can we talk about the Christians that are being massacred in Syria? Can we talk about Israel bombing Christian settlements in Lebanon today? Well, last night, today, same difference. You know, time change. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the continued killings of Christians in the Sudan? No. Everybody wants to talk about Israel and the Jews and all of this and all of that. Nobody's talking about the Christians that are being murdered up. More Christians have been murdered in the last 2 weeks in the Middle East than the number of Israel is what do you even call them? I guess you call it people from Israel, Israelis. You know, then Israelis have been killed in the last 15 years. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we can't even quantify it. But nobody's talking about the Christians. Who's out here supporting the Christians that are being killed up? Who's standing against that? When is Israel going to stand up and say, oh, they shouldn't be killing up the Christians? But they don't say that. But everybody's like, oh, the Christians should help Israel and the Christians should stand up for Israel. No, the Christians need to stand up for the Christians. That's a serious problem. Like, people don't read the Bible. The Bible says that we shouldn't be fellowshipping with anybody that ain't us. That's number one. And that's repeated over and over and over and over again. And they've shown very well that they don't want to fellowship with us. They fellowship with themselves. And I'm cool with that. I think that that is fantastic. Honestly, I admire them very, very much. The Jews have it down. They only mess with their own people. Christians need to do the same. We need to only mess with our own people because we over here so worried about Israel. Israel got their own stuff covered. Ain't nobody helping those Christians in Syria that's dying up. Nobody helped the Christians in Palestine that was getting killed up. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is a serious conversation and we can't have that conversation. But who's helping the Christians? Nobody. You seen Trump get up there and say anything about the Christians? No, but he getting up there talking about, oh, well, the Israel people were killed. Okay, they were. That's understandable. You talked about that a lot. Now talk about the Christians that are getting killed. We just lost another 2,000 some odd over the weekend in Syria. Between the Israeli strikes and between the continued massacre that's going on over there by HTS that's now in power over there in Syria. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the, 1,268 Christians that were just beheaded in the Congo? Can we talk about that? What about what's going on in Sudan? Hello. And we can't talk about Libya or Egypt or Iraq. Like, we're not being serious right now. The only people I see standing up for them is Russia, and that blows my mind. Not only does it blow my mind, it makes me upset. Because how is America not going to stand up for Christians, but Russia is? Make that make sense to me. That's a problem. Now, I did have a very interesting thing I saw the other day, where maybe 2 days ago, the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, right now they're in the middle of a war. They've been in war since, like, I don't know, forever. Since they were the Belgian Congo, they've been at war. Before that, after that, when they were Zaire, all of that. They're just continuously at war because they got a lot of resources. They got a lot of wealth that's untapped. And the president of the Congo said, hey, man, we want the U.S. to sign up with us. We got all these riches and all this wealth. The U.S. can come over here and help us develop our economy, our infrastructure and stuff like that. We'll be a good partner with you, and we'll let you get all types of mineral rights. I'm like, so, Trump, call that man right now. Let's do that tomorrow. Okay? All the resources that the Congo has. Are you serious? Look, he ain't had to tell me twice. I'd have been on the phone with him 30 seconds flat. Okay? I'd have been right on the phone with him. Because what's going on in the Congo is an atrocity. They talk about a genocide in Palestine. There's a serious, truthful genocide going on in the Congo, and it has been going on for years. But none of these crazy Palestinian anti-American people want to talk about that. Whenever they're like, oh, it's a genocide in Palestine. First of all, it's not. It's a mass displacement. The people aren't being killed up in those numbers, and they're not an ethnic group, nor are they a race. So that is not how that works. Okay? But also, they're just not being killed in those numbers. They're being massively displaced, and that's why they can't get the help that they need, because you're out here calling it a genocide instead of a massive displacement, and that's why they can't get the actual resources that they need. Why they need resources if everybody's dead? Hello, okay? So if everybody thinks that everybody's being died and killed up, then they won't get them resources. You sound dumb. You're defeating your own cause. Make it make sense, but you won't talk about the actual genocide that's going on in the Congo. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It makes me want to spit. But these are the serious conversations that we need to be having, but people don't want to have those serious conversations, because the second you start having a serious conversation, they try to shut you down, shut you off, don't want you to talk, or whatever the case is. Drop a like, hit a thumbs up, drop a comment. Let's have these important conversations, and let's keep it moving forward. So I see you hitting that like. Hit that like button. Yes, indeed. Drop a heart. Drop a heart for me. Drop a heart. Okay, there we go. Yes, so as we have these very serious conversations, there's so much going on in the world. I really hope we do take the Congo up on their resources that they're talking about they'll give us if we go down there and help them out and provide them with some infrastructure, some school building and stuff like that. Shoot, I'd love the resources. I got so excited. I'm like, man, I'm not even starting a company over in the Congo. I don't have a mining company or anything like that. I'm not really going to benefit on scale like that from what they got going on there. We'll benefit as a whole, as a country, long term from that. But I'm not going to benefit myself. But I was terribly excited because we need those precious minerals. We need those rare earth minerals. We need to make that mineral deal with them tomorrow. I don't know. I'm going to send Trump an email or whatever the case is. Him, Rubio, whoever, all of them. Who else? Him, Rubio. Who's the other person? I don't know. We'll see. But they need emails, right? I need to be like, Paul, somebody's getting a letter, like this is serious. Like this is serious. Like that is a grand opportunity for us as a country. So we should definitely take them up on that. Now, talking about other things going on in the world that need to be brought up, we got what's going on over there in El Salvador. Okay. What's going on in El Salvador with them sending all of the people over there? It's a very, very serious issue. But we can't have that conversation because they're putting people in prisons in El Salvador. Now, I'm not big on transporting anybody from any other country to another country. And I'm concerned with that whole situation. While I'm like, kick all of them out the country. You guys know me. I'm the first one to deport everybody. Start with the people that are here on overstayed visas. Okay. Criminals and the people on overstayed visas. Those are the first ones that need to go. Okay. And that's a serious problem. But we got these people that they're sending over to the El Salvador prisons, which I don't trust whatever his name is. Nico Bukele or whatever his name is. No offense. I just don't know how to pronounce his name. I like what he's doing, but also I don't like what he's doing. The man is a whole tyrant. He suspended the Constitution and locked everybody up and created a police state. I do not like that because that is very dangerous. Do I like what he's claimedly achieved, which is a lot of peace, prosperity, and financial wealth empowerment for his country? I like all of that. That's awesome. But what's going on over there, the fact that they suspended the Constitution and now he's like the ruling king over there, even though he's just a president, that's concerning. That man's essentially going to be the president for life. Maybe his wife will be the next president. I don't know. But I think that they're starting a dynasty, and I'm very concerned how there will be anybody that goes after him. I don't even know if they have any term limits or what the situation will be like. But that's a serious conversation that we need to have, because what's going on over there is not kosher, because they did suspend the whole Constitution. And this is supposed to be somebody that we're looking up to. That's a tyrant. And I'm not putting him down on his results or anything, or him as a person. I'm just saying, as Americans, we shouldn't be looking at that and saying, oh, yeah, that's a person that we should idolize and we should lift up and raise up for that. My biggest concern with them sending all of these criminal terrorists and criminal gang members over there is, how do I know that they won't try to use these for use the same thing for American citizens later? That's a very slippery slope. You understand what I'm saying? And we've seen throughout history that they'll say, oh, well, a slippery slope is a fallacy. I ain't never seen a slippery slope that was a fallacy in my life. Anybody that tells you that's a slippery slope fallacy is a liar. They're disingenuous and they're trying to make a cop out. Okay. They don't actually care. Okay. I'm talking about, oh, it's a slippery slope fallacy. Okay. Let me ask you a question. You ever been on a slope? Okay. That's got snow on it, or the side of a hill or anywhere, and you ever get up there and then you slip, okay? And then what happens? You go all the way down, right? Because the slope is slippery. You understand what I'm saying? You ever seen in the mountains where they have the avalanches? You know, it starts with a little small thing, and then the avalanche comes out of nowhere because it starts like they say, the butterfly effect. You know, one pebble in the ocean will start a tsunami across the other side of the country, across the other side of the continent, you know, so stuff like that. But it really, really is a real thing. And this is a real problem. But when they tell you that it's not going to happen, oh, yes, it is, especially if it's the government. Remember, you guys, if they ever tell you that the government wouldn't do that, oh, yes, they would. So, and that's something we always have to remember. But when they're talking about a slippery slope and saying that, oh, well, we should send all of these criminals over there, I'm like, no. I'm like, no, absolutely not. You know, I'm a firm Republican, diehard conservative. I'm not with that. If anything, we should be executing them right here. Okay. I think the majority of them should be drawn and quartered. Like, there is no exception to the majority of these criminals. Okay. Because they're just horrible criminals. Okay. These criminal gangs and criminal terrorists, draw and quarter them right on the White House lawn. I'm all for it. Sell tickets. I don't care. You understand what I'm saying? Don't do that. Don't do that. That's a slippery slope right there. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Okay. I don't want this to turn into a death race situation. If you guys have ever seen the death race movies. But this is something that's serious that we need to be on the lookout for, because Trump won't be president forever. Eventually somebody else will get in there, and who knows, they might decide that they want to send Americans other places. And this is a serious problem for me. And we need to be having this conversation. But a lot of people don't want to have this conversation because either they love Trump so much or they hate Trump so much they can't see past their own nose. It's a daggone serious, real problem. Then we got the Democrats right now, which are all a titter and all a tatter. They got the socialists rising up inside the party and fracturing everybody in the party in the traditional old Democrat held positions, and those that are even the moderate Democrats and stuff like that. The socialists and the extremists are taking over the Democrat Party. There's nowhere safe in the Democrat Party anymore. Anybody that considers themselves a Democrat, I encourage you, go change your party registration to independent. And any of you that are raised in the church and have real traditional scriptural values, switch to Republican or conservative. But that's only if you're going to stand on your actual scriptural values, because there's a lot of people that don't, or they got fake scriptural values. Love everybody all the time. What Bible are you reading? That is not in the Bible. You sound crazy. Okay. They got this whole concept of this wimpified hippy dippy Jesus. That's not that's not in there. You know, Jesus came and he said he's there to set us apart. You know, he said he came for the sword. Okay. He said he came to set the people against each other. And he's saying that because what happens in truth, right? As in Christianity, when you live by the scripture and Jesus's teachings, is people get very upset when you stand on business. That's why Christians are the most attacked community in the world. But you don't see these Christians standing up, and it's a very serious concern. Look at all of these elected officials. On city council right now, almost everybody claims to be a Christian. You understand what I'm saying? Almost everybody claims to be a Christian. Y'all not standing on biblical values. The mayor, he's so-called a preacher's kid. I don't see you standing on biblical values, bro. There's so much anti-scriptural stuff going on here in our city. It's bananas. I don't hear you say a daggone thing. Well, I'm a preacher's kid. I'm a preacher's kid. He says it all the time. And that's fine. But are you a Christian? Are you actually saved? I got serious questions because you're not showing me that you stand on your faith that you're talking about. You kind of apparently have. So if you have it, show it to me. Okay, we got in the schools right now, all this anti-Christian nonsense going on in our Rochester City public schools. Check it out. Look into that nonsense. I want to hear about that. Talk about that on the news. Talk about how they're pushing Islam in the schools now. This is happening right here in Rochester right now, but we can't have those conversations. Talk about how they're pushing all of this alphabetism in the schools. Talk about that. Talk about that. Talk about how they're pushing all this alphabetism in all of these different departments in the government right now in the city. Talk about that. Talking about, oh, I'm a preacher's kid. Maybe, but do you stand on Christianity and biblical values? No. Do the people on city council stand on Christianity and biblical values? No. We got all of these people that are so-called elected officials that claim to be Catholics or claim to be Christians or whatever the case is. But when it comes to scripture, they don't stand on scripture. How dare they? Heretics and apostates. And they need to be rebuked. God pray that they repent from what they're doing and they return to the teachings of Jesus Christ and to our Father in heaven above. Because right now, they claim to be Christians and they claim to be Catholic, but they ain't standing up and standing to the Bible. Then they let everybody get away with these watered down biblical nonsense that you don't even find in the Bible. It's a serious issue. And one of my biggest issue with these fake Christians is we got all of these elected officials right now, right? Look, the Bible says this. The Bible says that you are supposed to choose your leaders from amongst yourself. Okay? These people ain't from amongst us. They not standing on biblical values. Are you serious? Look at the stuff that they're funding. And you can go check out their voting records. Are you serious, bro? Look at how they funnel the money to their cousins, to their friends, to their benefactors, to all of these different places when it needs to be going to the community. But can we have that serious conversation? No, they don't want us to have that serious conversation. That'd be too much like right. That's why I'm running for city council. And first thing I put out there is I want them to do a 10-year audit, open audit. I want an open audit on all of the city spending for the last 10 years. Why? Because it is public money. It is taxpayer money. Where is the money going? Why is it being spent on all of these things with no key performance indicators? Make it make sense to me. And I'm sure if you're in another town or in another area that you're experiencing similar things in most parts of the country. Drink water, stay hydrated. Make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, or follow if you're not already following. Share this out to more people. Share it on your page. Make sure you comment. Drop a comment. I'll pop it up on the screen. It's so disgusting. It makes me want to spit. It's terrifying that we're going through this right now. And you want to know why these criminals in our city are stealing all of these cars, why they're beating up old ladies, why they're robbing all of these businesses, why they shot this guy in the store last night? Because we're the biblical values. All of these people claim to be Christians. Show it to me. Why are you withholding the punishment from these criminal terrorists? They've long since passed regular criminality. People are being terrorized. People are terrified to go out their house to their car. People are terrified to let their kids play outside in front of their house. This is real. We just saw a guy get sentenced to 25 years for going and sexually assaulting and kidnapping this girl from her house. He climbed up her house, the side of her house, and climbed into her window, sexually assaulted her, kidnapped her, and sexually assaulted her at another location. This is what's happening in Rochester, but we can't even talk about that. We can't have these very serious conversations. This stuff is real. We're our elected officials. Nobody will stand up and nobody will say anything. Now, and where I live, it's all Democrats. It's all Democrats. Now the socialists are trying to take the Democrats out and put more extreme crazy nonsense in. And you know who's pushing this stuff along with the socialists and the communists? All of these wealthy, affluent people that don't know what a hard day's work in their life is, that don't know what the struggle really looks like, that ain't never really been in hardship or anything like that. They're out here popping all this nonsense and all of this social, what do you call it? Social, emotional nonsense and green climate nonsense, and that's coming from me. I'm an environmental conservationist, but this green nonsense is exactly that. It's a lot of nonsense because when it comes down and it boils down to it, they don't care about the environment, they don't care about the biosphere, they don't care about the animals, they don't care about noise pollution, they don't care about light pollution, they don't care about the EMF frequencies that are being given off by all of these new smart meters or all of these crazy radio towers or high voltage lines. They don't care about any of that. They don't care about the impacts on the humans or the animals. But when we try to have that conversation, they don't want to have any of that conversation because they can't have any of that conversation because they fake. I said what I said. Hit like, hit share, and please get this message out there. Drop a comment. I'll do my best to pop it up on the screen. Please do donate. We're working on raising $50 to $100 per episode. So donate like 10, 15, 25 bucks. You can donate at Cash App, $MWReal1. We're working to raise more money so we can get some more airtime during the week because airtime isn't free, people, and we would like to be able to have more serious conversations with you. We're also working on saving some money so that we can get some better equipment, audio equipment and video equipment. I know you guys see the camera goes back and forth and kind of cuts out and stuff sometimes, stuff like that. We're working on it. So please do donate. And that's Cash App, $MWReal, the number one, that's $MWReal, the digit 1. Okay. You can also donate via Venmo or PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams on Venmo or PayPal, at Marcus C. Williams. So you can donate, take 2 seconds, donate, drop a couple of bucks there, 10, 15, $25, whatever you can do. Okay. Now, we also have givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams. Let's jump back into it. As we have these very serious conversations, we need to actually start talking factually about what's going on in the world. It's very concerning what I see with all of this anti-Tesla nonsense right now. Okay, first of all, let me say this about Tesla. Tesla is an energy company. You guys don't realize it, but by the time you realize that it's an energy and a robotics company, it's going to be too late. And that's a serious, serious thing. So that's a real concern to me. It's not a problem per se because there's a lot of companies out there doing that. I don't know if you guys have seen the new Boston Dynamic version of their humanoid robot up there doing cart flips and I said cart flips, okay, cartwheels into a backflip and all types of crazy nonsense that a robot should not be doing. Okay, they coming for you, man. They coming for you. They're gonna put guns and they're gonna put weapons on these robots. Heck, they don't even need to, right? How you gonna physically fight a robot, man? You don't have no power to fight no robot. Come on, man. We're not being real. And that's just Boston Dynamics. You see some of the stuff that China's doing, it's crazy. Or the robot dogs and all of this other craziness. And they're already putting guns in grenade launchers and stuff on the robot dogs. It's crazy. Like, people need to get with what's going on, and we need to push back against all of this. But we don't have enough leaders that have enough gumption and enough forethought to actually talk about this stuff, you know? And it's all coming up real, real fast. I just saw an article talking about how they're going to um, make it so that AI is now taking all of the orders at places like McDonald's and no, it wasn't McDonald's, excuse me, it was the PepsiCo restaurants. So KFC, Burger King, Taco Bell, and the rest of the ones that Pepsi owns. So this is a very serious issue. You know how many jobs that is? And you look at McDonald's on the flip side of that coin, and McDonald's already has some stores that are already fully automated. No people are in there. It's got like one manager to restock stuff, and that's it. Like, we need to be aware that we need to be preparing our children and our youth for the future. That's why talking about education is so very serious and so very important. With what we've got going on right now in the educational system, I'll use my city for example, in Rochester. It's terrible. These children are not being prepared for the jobs that are out there. They're not being prepared for the work that's coming up. They're not being prepared. So their whole future is being stolen from them. But it's not just their future, it's all of our futures, right? Because anybody that's graduating from the schools, that goes into the economy. Anybody that's graduating from the schools or doesn't graduate from the schools, that's going into crime. But can we have those very serious conversations? No, nobody wants to have those serious conversations. Now they're bickering back and forth over whether people should be able to send their kids to charter school, and the charter school should get money because now they're taking the kids. Of course, the charter school should get the money because they're taking the kids. And people are like, oh, well, that makes it less for these schools because they have to take all of the kids, and the charter schools get to discriminate and only take the good and quality children and stuff like that. Excuse me? Excuse me? You got no discipline in the city schools. You got no type of quality education. You've gotten rid of or trimmed down almost every high level achieving program, like the Major Achievement Program, like IB program, like the AP program, and the state Board of Regents is getting rid of the most basic exam to be able to say that you're proficient in anything, which is the Regents exam. So they're getting rid of that this coming up year. So what are we even really talking about when it comes to education? Nothing. They're still in our future. They're creating crime, and they want you to fund it with your tax dollars. No, thank you. No, thank you. Send my tax dollars to charter schools, but more so, let me keep my money. You understand what I'm saying? I don't got no kids in the school. I don't got no kids right now. Okay. And this is a very serious thing. Because if I had kids, I wouldn't be sending them to public school. I'd be homeschooling. You understand what I'm saying? And I believe that people that are homeschooling, more people should homeschool. That's number one. But I believe that the people that are homeschooling, they should get the money also, or give it like Kathy Hochul likes to do all the time. Well, we're giving a tax credit. I can't stand that nonsense. Tax credits are dumb. You should just not tax us to begin with. Hello, how about that? Just don't take the money to begin with, and then you don't got to give it back because you never took it to begin with. Hello, but can we have a real serious conversation? No, nobody wants to have a real serious conversation. Now Kathy Hochul is out here playing in people's face. Well, I'm going to give you a refund because we've taken in so much extra money from sales tax. Yeah, that's because you're overtaxing us. Hello. You're taking in extra money from sales tax. How do you not hear that you're overtaxing us? How you taking extra money from sales tax? Because you raised the money, extra money, because you're overtaxing us. Just get rid of sales tax. Are you serious? And I'm not saying specifically that getting rid of sales tax is a solution. I'd love that though. And I advocate very, very sternly on abolishing income tax on the state and the federal level, and abolishing property tax, because once you buy it, you should be able to own it. You shouldn't be paying rent to the government for your own stuff that you already paid for and bought outright. That's crazy. That's nothing but indentured servitude. That's like sharecropping. Like, is that what is going on? Like, there needs to be a class action lawsuit against the government for that. This is crazy, it's bananas. Okay, it's really, really crazy. But back to Kathy Hochul with her whole self. Oh, well, I'm giving you back the money that we stole from you to begin with. Don't take the money. Period. Stop taking our money. We can spend it better than you can anyway. And then she's like, oh, well, let me buy you off with the money that we've stolen from you. Or let me buy you off with somebody else's stolen money. Man, please. Must be an election year because her poll ratings were crazy, crazy low. And then she's like, oh, let me give you some tax money back. But De Neapolitano or De Palatino, something like that. Something like that's his name. The state comptroller is like, we ain't got no money. What are you doing, Kathy? We about to have a budget shortfall, he said, of like -$6 billion, okay, in the next coming year, okay? And I think it's supposed to be like 13 billion over the next 5 years. Looking out, like we're in serious peril. And if they keep doing all of this stuff, and she's all like, oh, let's give away more free stuff, more free stuff, more free stuff. The more free stuff you give away, the more you got to fund that, which means the more heavy you got to tax people. And she's like, oh, well, Trump is going to raise your taxes. Trump isn't raising taxes. First of all, Trump doesn't control taxes. That is the federal government on the federal level. But you control the state taxes with the state assembly and the state senate. And you guys keep raising the taxes. How about you lower the taxes? You took so much money from sales tax. How about you drop the state sales tax and make it only 4%? Okay. How about you make it 0? How about that? You know, it's kind of like I see her like that new guy in Canada, Kearney. Okay. He's like, yeah, I'm going to cut your taxes. And that's what Kearney said in Canada. He's the prime minister up there. Little short history on the way that prime ministers get elected in Canada. In Canada, people elect their people for the parliament, and then the people in the parliament vote on who's going to be in the head position for the prime minister. That's how that works. They don't directly elect their prime minister. But anyway, he's in there. He's like, I'm going to lower your taxes. How much are you going to lower the taxes, Kearney? 1%. What? When he said that, bro, I was like, what is he talking about? He's like, I'm going to lower the taxes 1%. No wonder the Canadians want to join America. Welcome, Alberta. Welcome, Saskatchewan. Welcome, what you call the other one? Right over there. Manitoba. Okay, welcome to the U.S. Come on in. You're more than welcome. British Columbia, you can come too if you want to. Okay, Yukon, come on down. You know what I'm saying? Like Canada's a joke, and they're not even a real country. He's like, we're a real country. No, you're not. You're a Commonwealth. You bend the knee to the crown. Okay, you aren't even a part of England. The crown, the royal family in England, actually owns you. Which the royal family in England actually isn't even English. They're French, but that's a whole separate conversation. And a big fight. So, but anyway, but he's up there like, oh yeah, we'll cut the taxes 1%. You sound dumb. 1%. He's like, yeah, that'll save people like $800 a year. $800 is a good amount of money for some people. But cutting taxes 1% when the taxes are profusely ridiculous, you're not doing anything, bro. You're playing in people's faces. This lady was talking the other day about how she went to go get an MRI to see if she has a brain tumor. So she got it back in December of last year, and this lady went to the doctor in December of last year to see if she could get an MRI for a brain scan to see if she has brain cancer or a tumor growing in her brain. They just got back to her the other day and said that her brain scan will be next January. Next January. She might have a tumor in her brain, and they're going to do it next January. And she was like, you know, this is the problem with the Canadian healthcare system, where the Canadian healthcare system is free if you can wait and not die. And that's a terrible reality of all of these countries where they're like, oh, well, they've got Medicaid for all, or they've got universal health care and all of these things. Yeah, but you don't talk about the bad parts of universal health care. They don't talk about it. Ask Portugal and Spain and Japan and all these other places. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy. That's why the people that are wealthy, they travel out of country, or they go to the black market and they buy organs and they do all types of surgeries and stuff like that because they can afford it. And they don't have to go through the nonsense. But the everyday average person just has to wait and wait and wait and hope and pray that they don't die before they get their next doctor's appointment. This is real, and that's what they want here. But that's also why so many Canadians want to become part of the United States, and I'm not mad at them. Come on down. Okay, but keep Quebec. Quebec can stay its own place. I don't really care for them too much. They really piffy, as French people are. So that's a whole nother conversation. I'm messing. They can come too if they want to. But, this is a serious conversation that we need to have when it comes to strategic and tactical, what would you say, tactical preservation of the United States of America. Canada would provide us with much more territory to be an easier access to the Arctic Circle, as well as transmission of commerce and goods and even rare earth materials, as well as extra additional lumber, what do you call it? Potash and oil and a number of other things, including natural gas. So it'll be a benefit to the US, and you can just cleanly traverse it, And this is something that would benefit us. Now we've got King Charles talking about Canada isn't their own country, their Commonwealth. So we got King Charles coming over here to the US apparently. I thought he was dead. Every couple months I'm just like, isn't he dead? But he's not yet. But he's coming over here to the US, and Trump made a comment in reference to him the other day. I wasn't very happy about that. He said, oh yeah, I love the king and stuff like that, and he wants us to possibly become part of the British Commonwealth, and that's an interesting concept. Maybe we could do that or something like that. No, ain't no maybe, bro. We fought a whole war against the British Empire. Are you serious? Absolutely not. So, and I don't know if Trump is like pulling his leg or something like that, or just trying to get in his good graces or whatever is like that. But Americans don't want to become part of the British crown. We don't want that. If anything, we want to take them down. Okay? Absolutely not. End the monarchy. Shoot, don't even get me started. Everything's pretty much controlled opposition by them anyway. I found out the other day that Louis Farrakhan is a Mason. That's a whole nother conversation. I always kind of thought that they was a little iffy, that they kind of reminded me of the Shriners and stuff like that in the Nation of Islam and the Moors and stuff like that. No wonder. Come to find out, they Masons. See, who really runs the world and who really knows what's going on? But we can't have those conversations either. And that's not putting anybody down, but that's showing you that everything is controlled opposition. So who's really out there looking out for the actual people, the everyday people that are trying to live their lives? Nobody, really. That's why I fight so hard for the community and for the people, because it's stuff like that that just makes you want to kick over somebody's flower pot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real serious, but we can't have those serious conversations. Back to the U.S. becoming part of the British crown. Absolutely not, bro. Absolutely not. Okay, that's not what we're doing. Okay, not even a little bit. So let that not happen. Not even as a joke. It's not funny. It's not cute. Okay, so, and I know a lot of people love Trump, and they're gonna say, "Oh well, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for saying that. Don't come out your mouth like that. No, stop it." Okay. And that's a real thing that really happened. But so many people, again, the same people on the one side, they got the people with the Trump derangement syndrome. On the other side, they got the Trump can't do nothing wrong. And the crazy fact of the matter that's really concerning to me about Trump is because of all of the people with the Trump derangement syndrome on him about stupid stuff, we can never have real serious conversations about anything that he's doing that might actually be of concern. Again, Larry Ellison, man, I'm terribly concerned about him doing any type of deal with Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison should be gone and dumped in a volcano somewhere, talking about the U.S. should become a surveillance state because it's going to be better for everybody. Absolutely not, Larry. No, that's what we're not doing. Then you got the leftists and the socialists. Oh, well, it's an oligarchy. It's an oligarchy. This is the United States of America. We've been an oligarchy forever. Are you serious? Talking about the Masons and the people, the secret societies that control our country. Are you serious? We've always been an oligarchy. What are you talking about? Oh, it's an oligarchy because it's the billionaires. What do you mean? Look at all of the billionaires and stuff that were in Obama's orbit and stuff like that. And they're like, well, he's got them in the cabinet. Are you serious? The one guy was the guy that was the Doug Burgum. I love me some Doug Burgum. I love me some Doug Burgum. Can't nobody tell me nothing wrong about that man. Well, you can, but you know what I'm saying. Like, He's real good. And he was the governor of North Dakota. He did a good job as the governor of North Dakota. I like him. Okay. And I don't like a lot of people at all. So that's saying a lot. Then you got the other guy, what's his name? The Treasury Secretary. I can't remember his name. Scott something or some other. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, I'm like, you know. So yeah, maybe he's got a couple of billionaires in there. You know what I'm saying? But he's a billionaire, right? Like, are we serious? Like, normally when you hire people that you know can get the job done and you know have some competency in various things and stuff like that. Are you serious? Then you look at it and you're like, well, Kirstie Noem isn't a billionaire. You look at it like what's her name? Tulsi Gabbard isn't a billionaire. Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, they're not billionaires. You know what I'm saying? Like most of his, he's got what, three billionaires, you know, in his cabinet, people that he knows. Like, we're not being real or serious. And this is the serious problem. Because of that type of derangement, we can't have the serious conversations about a lot of concerns that I do have about this administration. And it's not specifically the administration itself. It's the stuff that they're saying that are continuations of previous leadership under Obama, under what's his face, under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's the same continuation of certain policies and things that they've been talking about and they've been trying to do that are the things that concern me the most. I also have concerns about freedom cities. I'm not sure that I'm on board like that because that sounds like 15-minute surveillance cities. I do not like it. It doesn't sound good to me. It sounds like a setup. So we've got a number of things that people can actually be concerned about, but people don't show any concern about real stuff. Like I said, that Commonwealth statement, like, are you serious? Like, but the Democrats are out there talking about all this other stuff. Oh, he's actually investigating the crime, fraud, and corruption. What? Man. And then I saw a meme the other day that really, really hit home with me. It was like, you're okay with them firing thousands of government workers? And the other guy said, millions. Yes. That's how I feel, bro. I've been like, return the power to the states. I'm very much so somebody that believes in the autonomy of the states, that the states should be able to do their own thing free of the federal government, okay? Because that's the way that our constitution and our government is supposed to be set up. Maybe we need to go back to being what were we previously? We were a confederation previously. Maybe we need to go back to that in the Articles of Confederation where the states have more independent power and sovereignty over their own self. You know, because then I could really get out of here and go somewhere else, you know. But the way that it is right now, you can't. I'm just hoping and praying that we fight hard enough to get some better people in New York State in governing positions, because these people crazy. And the stuff that they're doing is worse than insane. It's reprehensible. Okay. It's a lot of the stuff they're doing I'd consider crimes against humanity. So we need to have these real serious conversations. But I believe that the federal government should be so small that it should be able to fit in my hand and I can crush it if I need to. That's how it should be. I believe that we should essentially, if you ask me, what would my desired state be of the nation? Quasi-city states with loose confederations that form a whole state. You understand what I'm saying? That's what my preference would be. Autonomous, self-governing areas and regions so that the people that live there can have more control over what's happening in their area. The closer the government is to you, the more impact and facilitation you can have on the things that are most important to you. And that's very, very important to me. I believe the state government is too big. We need to shrink the state government. And everybody's like, well, all these federal workers are getting displaced and stuff like that. Go work in the private industry. You'll probably get paid more too. But the real issue is that a lot of people that are getting fired have been there for so many years and stuff like that because they've pumped these jobs up with people just getting in there and then not doing anything for years and decades and decades and decades except amassing their own power bases, so they never really have to do anything and they're protected at all times and all levels. This is something that we need to have a serious conversation about, but the Democrats and the left right now, they don't want to have that serious conversation because that would be too much like right. Why can't we have that conversation? You know, under what's his name? Clinton cut almost 500,000 jobs, 500,000 jobs. Clinton cut straight out of the federal government. Trump's not even anywhere near that number right now. Are we going to have this serious conversation? Obama cut a ton of jobs. Are we going to even have that conversation? And in the meantime, Trump's trying to reshore manufacturing here so we can get more manufacturing jobs. But again, I do have serious concerns about that because of the automation and because we're not training the kids to get the jobs that are coming out here. But that's one of the reasons why they're working on fixing the educational system. So that's an important thing. Now, these are all important conversations that we need to have that not a lot of people are willing to have. Hit the like button, hit the share, get this message out to other people because we're having the conversations in your ear that you need to hear. You're listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ 106.3, the number one place to be. This is the number one conservative radio show in Rochester, New York, and we are the number one Republican conservative radio show in Monroe County. Watch our show. Tune in every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. We are here in your ear. So as we talk about these conversations that are ever so important, we need to understand that nobody is above reproach when they are in an elected position. What I see very much too often is people either get discouraged because they don't see anything change, so they don't try to redress their grievances with their government, which is our First Amendment right. Or they're just like, oh, well, my job is to go and vote and then just let them do whatever. No, it's not. It's when they're in office that you really need to hold these people accountable. They got all the Democrats all mad and in a tizzy. We've got to fight Trump. We've got to fight Trump. Fight who? About what? What are you even talking about? What is your party doing to actually create legislation to help push our country forward, to help encourage people into better quality of education? What are you doing to address the agricultural issues that we're having with food production? What are you doing to address all of the chemicals and stuff inside our food? What are you doing with the emissions rate and stuff like that? Speaking of which, the what is it? The car thing? I think it's car. Whatever the fuel efficiency thing is, with the cars, where you can't have like the old style of cars because that were bigger and stuff like that, because they say, oh, well, they're not fuel efficient yet as much because they got a weird percentage calibration that they have. But now they're getting rid of that. And I'm so happy. I am so happy because I want one of those light trucks. What do they call them? The K trucks and stuff like that. The little Japanese teenage small trucks. That's all I need. I don't need nothing too crazy. You know what I'm saying? But we can't have those because of the crazy emission standards that we have over here. And then they're all like, oh, the world is dying. The planet's evaporating and it's the end of the world. Well, we got some of the harshest regulations anywhere in the world here. You mean we got more regulations on industry for automobiles in the U.S. than they do in Japan, and we think so highly of Japan? You mean we do in the U.S. so much more than they have in Europe, and we think so highly of Europe? Make it make sense to me. But can we have those very serious conversations? And the answers overall is no. Nobody wants to have those conversations. Share this video out. Hit the like. Hit the thumbs up. Drop a comment. I'll do my best to pop it up on the screen and we'll talk about it, because these are the conversations we need to be having. We need to have more of these conversations. We need to have them more frequently. So please do donate. Cash App, you can see it in the ticker down there below. Cash App, $MW Real, the number one. Donate $10, $15, $25, whatever you can. We're working to raise $50 to $100 an episode so we can get some more airtime, because unfortunately airtime is not free. And we're also trying to do another show during the week as well. So please do donate. You can do that on Cash App, $MW Real, the number one. That's $MW Real, the digit 1. We also have Venmo and PayPal. You can do at Marcus C. Williams on Venmo or PayPal. Just drop a couple of bucks in the ducket, $10, 15, 25, 50, whatever you can do. So let's jump back into this as we start to tie up here for the afternoon. I want to leave you with one thought. A lot of what we see nowadays in the government is everybody's my team can do no wrong. I look at the Democrats right now and I don't see them doing anything right. I don't. I see them complaining and saying, let's fight back against the other people who are in office, who are in power right now. Why are you fighting back? You're supposed to be proposing solutions. You're supposed to be drafting legislation. You're supposed to be working together with the other parties in a bicameral to two different chambers together, and bipartisan nature, and they're not doing that anymore. And that's why we as American citizens are being left out and discounted and stuff like that. But let's have a further conversation on that at another time. Thank you for tuning into The Divide. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. Share, like, and get this message out there. I'll catch you guys next week. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Be blessed and be well. All right, you guys, I'll catch you guys later. Remember, we need to have these important conversations because nobody else is going to have them. If not us, then who? If not now, then when? Then when? I'll catch you guys later. Be blessed and be well. And remember, stay strong. Stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action.